BetOnline.com. When 6A to 6P isn't enough, the boys have you covered. Here's Jimmy Allen.
It's a Monday, and the After Hours Lounge is live here on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Bellevue University. You can keep up to date on all things Bellevue athletics by heading over to your smartphone, downloading the BU Bruins app. Tonight, Jimmy Allen, John Schreiner, Dan Campen here with you for the next 2 hours. We got a great show lined up for you. Believe it or not, we're going to talk a lot about football the day after the AFC and NFC championship game. Dan Campbell wants the smoke, and we want to know, were his decisions correct? I think we're going to have a couple of different outlooks on this, and then the Chiefs are heading to a fourth Super Bowl in 6 years in the Pat Mahomes era. We'll buy or sell topics around the NFL as well tonight, including between the Ravens and the Lions, who has the best chance to make it back to their conference championship and win their division next year. And at 7:30, we're going to tell you exactly where every key free agent quarterback is going to end up in the NFL as well. John Schreiner, how are you, sir?
I'm good. Coming at you from my home studio.
Do you actually have a studio, or are you just sitting on a bench at a table?
Oh, no, it's a table in my basement. That's exactly what it is.
Whatever, that works.
Yeah.
I was trying. You should have said, "Oh, I've got this great podcast studio. Doesn't it sound immaculate down here?" You
I
sound
really-
great. You sound perfectly fine.
I really should have bigged it up a little bit more. I should have tried to brag a little bit, but
Bob just softball, buddy.
what are you going to do?
John, we all know all you need for a home studio is a home and a microphone.
That's it. That's all you need.
2024. Make it happen.
I have both of those. So
you can direct a film from your phone these days.
Yeah, all those commercials that are shot on iPhones. You see that all the time. Shot on an iPhone. Yeah, but it wasn't edited on an iPhone. You can
That's
bet
right.
that.
Hey, I want to talk about Dylan Raiola for a second before we get into the NFL stuff, and I want to talk about Matt Rule caught up with Jesse Simonton of On3 as well, and I want to talk about that interview a little bit. Dylan Raiola drops from number 14 to number 21 in the On3 rankings for the 2024 class. Only one player in the top 20 is committed to a Big Ten school, and that's number one overall prospect, Jeremiah Smith. Interestingly enough, Dylan Raiola was the number one player in the country when he was committed to Ohio State as well. Make of that what you will. Raiola and Smith are the only Big Ten commits inside the top 32 as well. I have a couple questions. One, why the hell are we editing the top 100 kids of the 2024 recruiting class when 85% of them are already committed and 69% of them are already on campus at places? Like, what is the point of doing this?
And 100% of them are done with their season.
Yeah, and I believe only 7 are still uncommitted of the top 100.
It doesn't make much sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know what we're doing here, but Matt Rule also tweeted out, I should say, this weekend, making basically light of this is why I don't coach to dive for the pylon, in reference to obviously the Ravens situation this week, and then the fumble in the back of the end zone last week. Should we remind Matt Rule that his team led the nation in fumbles this past season, or do we kind of chalk that up to a matter of, hey, maybe they're putting an emphasis on ball security, and this is just him letting his guys know that, hey, see, this is why we don't teach this while we're at practice.
Well, I think both things can be true. I think you can coach not to dive for the pylon, and your team can still be really bad at ball security. Like, those are not mutually exclusive. You can still lead the nation in fumbles and tell your guys not to extend the ball unless it's fourth down. I think you can do both of those things, especially when you're taking over a team that had fumbling problems to begin with.
Like the last
for the last 2 decades, really. So, I don't really hold it against him too much. It is, from the outside looking in, it's a bit funny and, a bit ironic, but yeah, the two things don't exclude one another.
Yeah, it was very ironic. I don't even think it's debatable that it was ironic. But the other, he had a couple interesting points in the interview with On3, and he said that he felt like if his team wasn't minus 17 in the turnover battle, that this could have been a 10-win team a year ago. Now, if you were minus 16, do you think, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like you were like minus 4. It was a pretty large margin. And, I mean, you could point at 1 or 2 games and 1 or 2 turnovers and say, I could see how that could swing in the other direction. think it's probably closer to say they could have been a 6, 7, or 8 win team. I don't know about 10.
Well, if they'd been plus 17, they probably would have been a
It'd
10
probably
win
been 12-0.
Yeah.
If you look at what this team is going to be next season, Coach Rule had made an interesting statement. He said, I feel like we're going to make a big jump, and I expect us to make a big jump in 2024. He did mention that people are going to be more prepared to see the 3-3-5 out of this team next year, and he said we have to understand that special teams needs to make a big jump. So I'm excited, and I expect us to make improvements this year. There's so much focus now on Dylan Raiola, the offense, and how much different the offense is going to look next season, because that's where you hope, knock on wood, that's where the biggest improvement should be coming from. But I've never really thought about that for a second, how much the Big Ten was caught off guard by the 3-3-5 and how much of a difference that could have made. I was more of thinking along the lines of, okay, we just got a bunch of guys that have been like the Cam Lenharts of the world. Nash Hutmacher obviously took a big step forward. I thought that was really the difference. I never thought about the concept of the 3-3-5 having to be adjusted to. When we talk about Nebraska's defense last year, did that ever cross your mind?
So I have this large overarching football theory, and I call it the backup and rookie quarterback fallacy.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll see this a lot of times when a rookie quarterback a la CJ Stroud or a backup quarterback comes in, Dan Campanen, Matt Flynn.
Do you remember Matt Flynn?
They will often.
I remember Matt Flynn.
They will have a period of time where they will inexplicably just light the scoreboard up. And to me, it always seems like it's because there's not enough tape for defensive coordinators to get used to this guy's tendencies, right? They don't know how he's going to act within the system they're playing in against the defense that they're throwing at him. So there's sometimes when you're just not familiar about somebody's tendencies, so you don't know how to treat them, right? And I think that benefits a lot of backup quarterbacks and rookies when they come into the league sometimes. So I do think that this is something that we're going to have to watch out for. Now that all the Big Ten has a year's worth of tape on Matt Rule's 3-3-5, it could maybe not be as dominant as it was in the past year. I think that's a legitimate concern.
And you've got to hope that the Terrence Knightons of the world really help. We obviously saw how good this defensive line was last year, can develop guys into taking even another step forward, especially when you get guys like Nash back, guys like Ty Robinson. You have Cam Lenhart another year in the system. You had Prince Unmanmiele another year into the system. And then you get some depth behind those guys and bring them along too, that those position coaches are not only helping develop talent, but also adjusting to what they saw as well, and also playing the game with inside the game. Matt Rule was asked about his recruiting philosophy, and he said that he wants to build through the high school ranks, and by adding guys like Dylan Raiola and Carter Nelson, Nebraska has become more of a destination now. My question is that the case on today on January 29th? Because my answer is no.
No, it's definitely not.
Yeah, I think that these guys have to go out, perform, and win. I think having a couple of those highlight bowls in the Polynesian highlight films from the Polynesian Bowl, where you have what it could look like with Dylan Raiola and Carter Nelson going forward, to put out there and say, hey, you could be a part of this. It's got to equate to Big Ten player. I don't think it matters.
To me, what makes a college football program a destination for top level recruits?
Weather.
Weather has something to do with it, but I think you can even overcome weather with getting guys paid in the NFL.
Yeah.
Right. You can get around your weather situation and whatever city that you're in. If you're getting guys to the league and getting them, rookie contracts where they're making a boatload, like, why does anyone go play college football? They're hoping to make it to the next level, right? They want to play in the NFL, almost all of them. So if you can show that you're putting guys in the league and they're prepared and they're performing well and they're making a lot of money, then you become a destination. It's almost like, to some degree, winning doesn't matter as much in that regard, because look at Miami. Miami was still like a top 10 recruiter when they were awful. They were not winning anything, but they were getting a lot of guys that went to the league.
Yeah. And a lot of that is because you have to have that niche, right? I don't think at Miami it's necessarily as important to get guys to the league if you've got South Beach. There's nothing that looks like South Beach anywhere near Lincoln, Nebraska. So I think I think about Lincoln, and I think about places even like Norman for Oklahoma, where I think places like Stillwater, places like I don't know Lubbock. Like you have to be able to do two things. You've got to be able to put guys in the NFL, or you have to win. Otherwise, you're not going to be attractive to anybody because you don't have that extra sales pitch of if you come here, it's going to be 80 degrees and sunny for the entire time you're in college. You don't have that pitchability in Lincoln, and you're talking to a lot of people. Listen, there's a ton of kids that come into Lincoln from out of town that have never seen temperatures below 40 degrees before. It happens all the time. So you have to explain to those guys that, hey, coming here where the wind hurts your face, there's got to be some benefit to it in the long run. And I think that's a lot of the reason that we've seen such a drop off from Nebraska from a recruiting standpoint and from a development standpoint, because yeah, you could be the best developer in the world, but you've got to have talent to develop. And
sure,
when you look at some of the guys that Nebraska has brought in, I think some of them have hit their ceiling, but the problem is that's their ceiling, as opposed to getting guys that are high end 4 stars, are high end 5 stars. I think it makes you take that next jump. And I remember a couple weeks ago, Colin Cowherd was talking about what Oklahoma has become after Lincoln Riley. And he's talked about the fact that, listen, there's only one program in the country that has completely fallen off from being at a national championship competition level to not. And it is Nebraska. It's the only, when you look across the board, Clemson has had a rebound. Wisconsin has had a renaissance. When you look at what Oklahoma did 2 years ago compared to last season, and all these blue bloods have had these bounce back years. Look at Texas in the early 90s compared to the early 2000s. And it just feels like Nebraska is in the standalone island. And when you look at Nebraska from a recruiting standpoint, it is as well. Now, NIL has helped out tremendously with that, and it can be the great equalizer. But unless you're winning, that NIL money is never going to be on the same playing field as the blue bloods of college football that are winning at the same time. So Nebraska's got to find some way to use NIL to utilize getting back into the winning side of things to make it even more powerful, in my opinion.
I mean, what's so great about Tuscaloosa, Alabama?
It's 60 degrees there right now.
That's the weather's a little better. I'll give you that. But it's miserable in the summertime. It's not a nice place to be.
It is in Tallahassee too.
It's not a great city. There's nothing.
Shots fired.
There's nothing like Tuscaloosa doesn't have anything that Lincoln doesn't have, other than better weather in the winter. The difference was that Nick Saban was there,
right,
and he was winning games and putting guys in the NFL who were having a lot of success at the level.
And I'll even double down on that. It wasn't even just the fact that Nick Saban was there. You had more years than not the best coaching staff in the country with some of the guys that they've had as analysts and assistants. It hasn't even been debatable. So it was like, hey, you're going to go to this place that, it might be crappy to live there for 4 years, but you've got 6 former head coaches on the coaching staff, and they will all get you to the NFL one way or another. So when we talk about the addition, and this is why I was so adamant a couple weeks ago when I was on USC, when we were talking about Dana Holgorsen being added to the staff as an analyst, he didn't have to be an offensive coordinator to have an effect. Like, I know people wanted him calling the plays because the effect he could have on the offense, but from a recruiting standpoint and letting Dana Holgorsen do what Dana Holgorsen needs to do, you don't need him in that offensive coordinator role, in my opinion.
No, and look, I was not screaming for Dana Holgorsen to be the offensive coordinator either.
Wow. It wasn't like I didn't want him to be. I just didn't feel like he needed to be.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that the buzzer has sounded on Satterfield just yet. It's been one season with an abysmal quarterbacking situation. So,
to say the least.
Yeah, I feel like he, at the very least, deserves another shot at this thing with a better situation. But I agree with what you're saying in that the support staff around a program can make a little bit of a difference when you're seeing that it's helping guys improve and make a career out of playing football, which is ultimately the point of this whole thing.
I wonder, this just kind of went through my head when we talk about how rampant the transfer portal has become. I wonder how much guys will hesitate to have short-term assistants that have a likelihood of becoming a head coach sooner than rather on their coaching staff because of the ability to poach. Like, I mean, I'm sure there'll be an unwritten rule, and you probably have a conversation about that beforehand, but you're not hiring somebody you don't trust. But in certain situations, you might not have that luxury. I wonder how much coaches may hesitate on bringing in a guy that has the ability to be a head coach in a year, to be an analyst, if might be a couple guys leaving with him too.
Well, I know it's been said, and it's been said on this station before, but I feel like there's an NIL reform coming at some point where, you're going to have to be tied to a school for a certain number of years or games or whatever it may be. If you're going to take this NIL, it's going to be a contract situation where you're going to be in breach of contract and you're going to have to repay the funds that you were given if you want to leave. So I feel like that's coming. I feel like it's not too far down the road because at some point, all of these deep-pocketed alumni are going to want some return on investment, right? They're not just going to throw money at a kid to get him on campus and then see him leave a year later. Like, look at the Quinn Ewers situation at Ohio State. He got a lot of money to go and sit on the bench at Ohio State for a year and then left. And you can't tell me that right now Ohio State wouldn't love it if Quinn Ewers was a junior quarterback who'd been sitting for them for a couple of years and was now ready to come in and be the starter. He might have been the starter this year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree with that. Hey, if you missed the opening segment tonight, check it out. SoundCloud.com/afterhours1620 is brought to you by Caddyshack Bar and Grill. They've got 2 great locations, but just a reminder, you can stop by 117th and Blondo tomorrow. Catch this show live and in person. Myself and John Shrine will be live from Caddyshack. Breaking down the show, we're going to have a special guest or 2. We'll know more by the end of the night. We'll keep you updated. So make sure you stop by tomorrow. Caddyshack Bar and Grill. It's the official watering hole of After Hours on 1620 The Zone. We come back. Was Dan Campbell correct? We debate. Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. We all know that Jerry Ryan's the premier suit buying experience in the Midwest, but you know that Jerry Ryan's also the exclusive retailer for brands like Mizzen & Main, Johnny O. You can stop by Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear, centrally located on 78th and Dodge. Get your suit game right. Make sure you're dressed well for game day as well. Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear, they've been dressing Omaha for over 50 years.
Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Partly cloudy and cooling off tonight. Low temperatures dropping back to around 30. Partly cloudy to start on Tuesday, turning mostly sunny, just a little bit cooler with a northwest breeze. High temperature in the lower 40s. I am Chief Meteorologist Bill Ranby from KETV News Watch 7.
The dream of playing the sport you love may be closer than you think. The Bellevue University Athletic Department proudly sports the best scholarship funding among NAIA programs in the state. To compete with the best, we need to recruit the best. All incoming freshmen earn a $5,000 scholarship when they enroll at Bellevue University. Learn more by looking us up at BUBruins.com and reach out to your future coach today.
Did that trash or recycling truck roll by your house without stopping again? Hi, I'm Megan with Papillion Sanitation. At Papillion Sanitation, trash and recycling is our passion. From residential to commercial, we've cleaned up Omaha and surrounding areas for more than 30 years. So if your home or business needs reliable, friendly trash or recycle service, check out papillion-sanitation.com today and see how our customer service and professionalism can't be matched. Head over to papillion-sanitation.com to upgrade your trash or recycling service today.
Ready to make a positive impact in a young boy's life? Join Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Midlands and become a mentor where you are matched up with a boy in the greater Omaha area. Over 50 boys are waiting for someone like you to guide and inspire them. Visit mentoromaha.org and sign up to make a difference in a boy's life. Don't wait. Make a lasting impact today.
It's history in the making as the Omaha Supernovas, your Major League Volleyball team, continue their inaugural season as they host the San Diego Mojo on Saturday, February 3rd at 6 p.m. World-class professional volleyball right here in Nebraska at the CHI Health Center. Secure your tickets and get to know your Supernovas by visiting supernovas.com. That's supernovas.com.
Hey, Jays fans, it's hoop season, and you know what that means. Jerry Ryan has the best selection in town for all things Creighton gear. Stop by Jerry Ryan at 78th and Dodge for your quarter zips in all shades of Jays blue, plus jackets, vest, winter coats, you name it. They have it. Multiple Jays options for men and women from Peter Millar, Cutter and Buck, and Johnny O. Stop by Jerry Ryan Clothing and dress like the coaches do.
Jerry Ryan, we bring out the best in you.
When you think Caddyshack, you think about an unforgettable dining experience. Stop in for Meatloaf Monday for just $10.95. Tuesdays are all happy with all day. Great a Wing Wednesday with Thursday is spaghetti night. Plate. Or grab some lunch on Fridays with the $12.95 hot beef sandwich. Caddyshack. 2 great locations off of 117th and Blondo and 180th and Harrison. The official watering hole of After Hours on 1620 The Zone.
Graduation season will be here before you know it, and you can have the 402 barbecue truck come to your party or event you're hosting. Stop by the Brick and Mortar on 84th and Spring and try the food. Then, when you get the craving, come back and book the food truck to be the caterer for your event. Graduations, company outings, community events, they do it all. 402 Barbecue at 3027 South 84th Street. Stop by today and grab lunch.
Are you ready to elevate your taste buds? Look no further than Pepper Jacks, your go-to destination for bold flavors and endless choices. Dive into their mouth-watering rice bowls, crisp salads, hearty Phillies, savory burritos, and loaded nachos. What sets them apart? Complete customization. Choose your base, proteins, toppings, and sauces for a personalized culinary adventure. At Pepper Jacks, it's not just a meal, it's an experience. Unleash your cravings and savor the bold tastes at Pepper Jacks today. Life's too short for bland. Spice it up at Pepper Jacks.
The temperatures are dropping fast, and Old Man Winter is right around the corner. If your home isn't going to win the battle against the cold this year, let the #1 roofer in Omaha for 12 consecutive years come fight the battle for you. Let Pyramid Roofing come out and replace your gutters, your siding, your windows. They do it all. Give Pyramid a call tonight at 402-502-9300 or check out pyramidroof.com to book a free estimate today. Tell Old Man Winter to take a hike.
PyramidRoof.com, never settle for less.
Now back to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
Dan Campinen, Detroit Lions apologist, live with us here on 1620 The Zone tonight.
Or the next Gene Steratore.
We're brought to you by Bellevue University. Head over to bellevue.edu. You can register for classes. Become a Bruin tonight. See, John, when you're not in studio,
yeah,
great off-camera discussions.
I do.
It is time. We were discussing the video of Aiden Hutchinson just getting absolutely destroyed by George Kittle, and then Dan Campinen correctly pointed out he was clearly holding him. But revisionist history is always 2020.
Well,
all is fair in love and football.
That's right. It's time for Who Wants to Smoke segment. Speaking of the Lions, Dan Campbell wants to smoke tonight. Lions were up 24-7 at halftime in the NFC Championship game. Dan Campbell decides to go for it on 4th down to go up by 3 scores and had an opportunity to kick a field goal in that game with 7 minutes left also to tie it. He didn't convert on either one of them. He was asked after the game why he didn't. He said he just really believed in his team. They've always been able to get their momentum back, and they just couldn't in this game. How do you feel about Dan Campbell's 2 decisions, and how did you feel in the moment?
So I've been thinking about this a lot today, and last night I was, like a lot of people, a prisoner of the moment, and I even tweeted out that the score, should have been with 37-34, right?
Yeah.
The Lions should have been leading, and I don't know that that's entirely true. That's what it felt like in the moment. The first decision to go for it on 4th down, I thought definitely they should have kicked it because you could have gone up 17, which is 3 scores.
That would have been the nail in the coffin, yeah.
You could have been up 3 scores. I mean, yes, a touchdown puts you up 3 scores also. So they still have to get down the field and score 3 times to tie the game at the very least. So that was the one that stuck out to me. The second one, I mean, you're trying to go for the throat. You're trying to, shut down the momentum with a touchdown. I can understand that.
Yeah.
You're trying to win the game. I can understand that one a little more. And it was a lot longer. There's no guarantee that one's going in. The first one, though, that one just sticks out to me as a huge momentum shift in the game. Because
it gave everything back to the 49ers.
Right. You could have kicked the field goal and been up 3 scores. And instead, the 49ers get a 4th down stop, and now they're marching. Right.
There were 2 moments in that game where I felt like the momentum shifted back to San Francisco. And one was that first missed field goal. Failed 4th down attempt when they could have kicked the field goal. And the other was that moment where Brock Purdy scrambled and then lobbed one up to Juwan Jennings, which he had no business catching, and then he one-hand palms it and comes down with it for only 7 yards, but it was the biggest 7 yards of the game. And I was sitting with a group of people at my house, and I looked at all of them, and I said, San Francisco's going to win this game. They were still down 14 at that point. It was my buddy Eric is sitting there and is purchasing kegs for a Super Bowl party as a Detroit Lions fan at halftime. And I went, ooh, that it was just one of those things that you've seen this franchise overcome things before. And you have guys in that locker room that have been to Super Bowls before. You don't really have that on the other side of the field. And then when things like that go a team's way that are used to winning, it changes the momentum in the thought process. When you're a team that's not used to winning and you haven't learned how to win, and you see things go that way that have no business happening,
the ball off a face mask.
It starts to mess with your psyche. And then to your point, that play where Brandon Ayuk caught that ball off the defender's face mask and almost fell into the end zone. You're just like, at that point I went, there's no way they're losing this football game. And everything was just coming up aces for the 49ers. And
it starts to feel like there's something intangible happening, right?
Yeah.
You start to feel like it's out of your control in some way. Like San Francisco is going to get all the breaks now. Once they get the first one and then they get a second one, and it just feels like everything is trending in that direction. And they did a lot of things to turn the game in their favor. Not saying it was pure luck, but I mean, a ball bounces off the face mask
in the game.
Right. A ball off the face mask that ends up in the wide receiver's hands. That's an incredibly fortunate bounce. And, the football gods, the old football gods start to have their say in the game is what it begins to feel like. Now, is any of that true? Probably not. But the human psyche is a wonderful thing. And the things that you believe can sometimes be the things that happen.
Yeah. And then you obviously had the George. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say real quick, we all know exactly why this worked out last night. Brandon Ayuk said it in the post game. Before the game, a ladybug landed on his shoe, and we all know what that means. That was by far.
Do you want to inform people what that means?
It means good luck.
That is true.
Whenever a ladybug lands on you, it means that you're going to have really good luck. And
I thought you were going to explain what it meant. Sorry. But
I just love the post game comment.
Yeah, I mean, but listen, I think little things like that actually matter to somebody's psyche when we're talking about believing and being able to turn around. And to Dan Campbell's point, and this is why I didn't have a problem with either call by Dan Campbell. Going for it and being aggressive in situations this season is what got them to the NFC Championship game in the first place. You're not sitting in Santa Clara on Sunday if you don't have Dan Campbell's mentality on those 2 plays. And it's really what's changed this whole entire franchise is not only the gallstones to go for it, but having the ability to believe in your team and having your team believe in you when you put them in that situation, you're going to call a play that is going to put them in a position to win. And when you look at how, we talk about those few plays for San Francisco that just bounced the right way. Jared Goff had that 3rd and 7 that he hit 2 receivers on the money on third and manageable situations that were dropped. One being Sam Laporta, and the other one being Josh Reynolds. So, that could just be the difference in an NFC Championship game is a ball bouncing off the face mask of a defender in the right area, and your all rookie pro tight end dropping a pass that with the game on the line.
Yeah, which made it all like your whole point there made it all the more weird to be on Twitter last night, which I know like Twitter's a very weird place and it's not a good gauge of the general intelligence of society. But to see people actually on Twitter saying that Dan Campbell should be fired after that game is one of the wildest things that I've ever read. And I've read some really, really stupid things in my life.
Yeah, because
to say that he for getting them to that point, like there's no other coach in the league in the history of the Lions. There's no other Lions coach in history that's gotten them to that point before.
Yeah.
Like, so for anybody, Lions fan or not, to come out and say that's a fireable offense, you are off your rocker, my man.
Yeah.
Like
I
you gotta
believe
chill.
Anybody that actually thinks that was probably their first experience of watching a Detroit Lions football game was last night. That is the only situation in which I could think that you could justify that opinion. Hey, we're going to break down the AFC Championship game. If you missed the Who Wants to Smoke segment, check it out at soundcloud.com/afterhours1620. It was brought to you by 402 Barbecue. You can stop by 402 Barbecue Monday through Saturday from 11 to 6. Try mine and John's personal favorites, the Cadillac sandwich. It's brisket. It's pork. It's topped off with their world-famous smoked mac and cheese. Make sure you mention to Kelly and the team you heard about them on After Hours. She's going to throw in a soda with a purchase in the mention of our show. It's 402 Barbecue, 3027 South 84th Street. Stop by and grab lunch tomorrow. We break down Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City Chiefs when we come back on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, everybody. John Schreiner here. Maybe you went to an NFL party this weekend and you could hear the wind whistling through the windows, or maybe you have that problem at your own house. Warmer temperatures are rapidly approaching, and you know what that means. Thunderstorms are on their way. The last thing you want is a leaky roof. So let the #1 roofer in Omaha, 12 consecutive years, come out and take care of your roof, gutters, windows, siding. They do it all at Pyramid Roof Contractors and Pyramid Roof. You never have to settle for less. So head over to pyramidroof.com and book a free estimate tonight.
Are you looking to be part of a winning tradition? The Bellevue University Bruins could be the right fit for you. Whether on the court or on the field, track or course, our student athletes strive and succeed. This year, Bellevue teams and individuals have combined to win 11 conference championships, with 8 teams qualifying for their national tournaments. Plus, nearly 50 student athletes were also named to all conference teams. Find out more about our tradition of excellence at BUBruins.com.
There's never been a better time to choose a new career path than right now. Hi, I'm Tracy with Papillion Sanitation. If you're at a point in your life where you want a career, not a job, Papillion Sanitation is the place for you. From 401k options to opportunities for career advancement, come make Papillion Sanitation your future. Check out papillion-sanitation.com today to apply and make a change for the better. Papillion Sanitation, equal opportunity employer.
It's history in the making as the Omaha Supernovas, your Major League Volleyball team, continue their inaugural season as they host the San Diego Mojo on Saturday, February 3rd at 6 p.m. World-class professional volleyball right here in Nebraska at the CHI Health Center. Secure your tickets and get to know your Supernovas by visiting supernovas.com. That's supernovas.com.
Graduation season will be here before you know it, and you can have the 402 Barbecue Truck come to your party or event you're hosting. Stop by the Brick and Mortar on 84th and Spring and try the food. Then, when you get the craving, come back and book the food truck to be the caterer for your event. Graduations, company outings, community events, they do it all. 402 Barbecue at 3027 South 84th Street. Stop by today and grab lunch.
It's cold, it's windy, you're stuck inside, but not for long. Spring will be here before you know it. And if you want to get off the couch and enjoy the outdoors when the mercury starts to rise, head over to Foresman'sFinest.com today. Let the finest deck builders in the Omaha area come build you an outdoor experience you will love. A deck, a patio with a cover, there isn't much Forsman's can't do. Check out Foresman'sFinest.com and have your dream outdoor experience in 2024.
Hey there, Greg Wagner joining you from the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission. Time now for another Outdoor Nebraska update. It's hunting time in the Husker State. For a safe season, remember to be totally certain of your target and your background before you fire that shot. In a moment, ask yourself, is the bullet flight path clear? Is that a legitimate target? And what am I going to hit if I miss my shot? Please be careful out there. If you'd like more information on hunting safety, go to outdoornebraska.gov. That's outdoornebraska.gov. From wildfowl to owls. Great time of year to step outside and watch wildlife. Many animals are still active, plus the leaves have mostly fallen, vegetation is set back, and we'll have some warmer weather. Maybe you'll hike a state park trail or head to a public reservoir to do that. Oh, and don't forget your camera. Oh, it's on your phone. That's right. I'm Greg Wagner.
The temperatures are dropping fast, and Old Man Winter is right around the corner. If your home isn't going to win the battle against the cold this year, let the #1 roofer in Omaha for 12 consecutive years come fight the battle for you. Let Pyramid Roofing come out and replace your gutters, your siding, your windows. They do it all. Give Pyramid a call tonight at 402-502-9300 or check out pyramidroof.com to book a free estimate today. Tell Old Man Winter to take a hike.
PyramidRoof.com, never settle for less.
Are you ready to elevate your taste buds? Look no further than Pepper Jacks, your go-to destination for bold flavors and endless choices. Dive into their mouth-watering rice bowls, crisp salads, hearty Phillies, savory burritos, and loaded nachos. What sets them apart? Complete customization. Choose your base, proteins, toppings, and sauces for a personalized culinary adventure. At Pepper Jacks, it's not just a meal, it's an experience. Unleash your cravings and savor the bold tastes at Pepper Jacks today. Life's too short for bland. Spice it up at Pepper Jacks. Pro volleyball season is here in Omaha. Chesterman Coca-Cola and Hy-Vee have partnered with the Omaha Supernovas. Right now, when you stop by any Omaha area Hy-Vee and pick up 2 12-packs of Coke, you can get a third one free. Plus, if you need to stay hydrated, do it with the all-new Body Armor Zero Sugar. You can get 10 for just $10. Coke and any Hy-Vee, keeping the Omaha Supernovas super.
Going Vertical Basketball Academy is the premier sports performance training facility in the Midwest. Working with athletes as young as kindergarten all the way to college and the pros, GVBA offers a variety of packages from individual workouts to group sessions. They also offer elite-level sports performance training for athletes of all sports. Check out the academy at 10700 Sap Brothers Drive in Omaha or at goingverticalomaha.com. That's goingverticalomaha.com.
You're listening to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
.639 on a Monday night here on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Bellevue University. Head over to bellevue.edu and register for classes tonight. Jimmy Allen, John Schreiner, Dan Campbell with you here tonight. Go weigh in on anything we're talking about, 402-951-1620. Don't forget to follow the show at After Hours 1620 on Twitter as well. The Kansas City Chiefs, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and Travis Kelce are all heading to a 4th Super Bowl in 6 seasons. And I think this was this AFC Championship game on Sunday was a story of 2 quarterbacks and the development of them. And when you look at Patrick Mahomes going 30 of 39, including that dart on the sideline to set the tone at the beginning of the game and open up this game, kind of letting Baltimore know that they're on notice and they are dealing with the former, the defending champions. And I think everybody's going to look at Lamar Jackson's highlights from this game and see that tip pass that got batted up in the air and somehow he caught himself and rushed for like 7 or 8 yards and look at that and say, well, that's Lamar Jackson. And I think the problem is what I take away from Lamar Jackson's performance on Sunday was that 3rd and 1 in the 4th quarter, where he scrambled around for about 45 seconds and then lost 3 yards. And somebody will say, well, that's just one play and look how dynamic he is. Yeah, but those are the plays that matter. And granted, later in that drive, on that 4th down, Lamar was able to convert it by throwing it. But in those situations, when time is so precious, you can't be the video game character. You have to be precise in the decisions you make. And I think that's the difference between the Patrick Mahomeses, the Aaron Rodgerses, the Tom Brady's of the world, And quarterbacks like Josh Allen, like Lamar Jackson, who their first option is run first, when they have to throw it, and they're so used to when they create offense off of their legs, whether it be scrambling around or running for first downs, that when that option isn't there, they don't have the wherewithal to make the play in the moment.
That's a little bit of a switch for you, I think, than what we were talking about last week.
And it is, and because I was expecting, because it felt like Lamar has taken that next step, and I thought he was there. And in that moment, I went, oh, he's still got a long. And listen, that doesn't mean he can't be there next year. That doesn't mean that can't be fixed.
Yeah.
I never believe that when you see somebody in a moment like that and they fail, that's who they are forever. I think Lamar Jackson can absolutely get that fixed. He's got his third down conversion rates fixed. He's become a better pocket passer inside of the red zone. He's adapted and changed a lot of his game. Now, if his offensive coordinator sticks around, that's going to help a whole lot. And I don't know if Todd Monken is necessarily going to be in Baltimore for a long time, because he's going to get a lot of opportunities to go somewhere else. But I think that has helped. And in that moment, and granted, it's the biggest moment of his season, he came up short, but it's not the fact that he didn't convert the third down. It's the fact that he lost 3 yards on third and 1. You just can't, in that moment, that just can't happen. He could have, and listen, he had about 3 opportunities to throw the ball away too, and he just didn't do it. And if you know you're going for it on fourth down, no matter what, which I'm sure his head coach and his offense coordinator probably alluded to before, hey, listen, we're going to, if we don't get it here, we're going to go for it again. That's why we're throwing the football. You can't lose an inch, let alone 3 yards in that situation.
So here's what I was thinking after the game, and it points to a larger thing. I try to be a person who, in light of new information, adapts an opinion, right? I don't want to be the guy who formulates an opinion and then just digs in my heels and this is my opinion on this thing forever. You have to be able to take in new information and change the way you think about things. And I had been a Lamar Jackson detractor, right? I had always been he's a tremendous athlete. He's great in the run game, but he can't throw the ball outside the numbers. He can't beat good teams. And that was the story on him for the first few years of his career. I started to change my mind this season. I was actually on board that I thought the Ravens were going to win the Super Bowl this year because of Lamar Jackson. But because I thought the old playoff Lamar Jackson had finally gone away, especially after their win in the divisional round and the way he played in that game. But last night, it was playoff Lamar Jackson again.
Right.
And the things that stuck out to me were he had receivers running open down the field. They'd beaten their defender outside the numbers, and he was unable to connect on any of those deep shots down the field. He overthrew it's probably 5 or 6 deep balls that very well could have been completed and might have gone for touchdowns. Those are opportunities that he just missed.
Not even that. On that jet sweep with Zay Flowers, he got in his own wide receiver, but his own wide receiver's way in the middle of a play, and he just looked so uncomfortable and off his spot that it. And I think that makes what Patrick Mahomes did last night all that much more that impressive. And yes, he's been there before, and this was Lamar's first AFC Championship game. But when you look at the guys that win on a consistent basis, and Lamar's been a consistent winner, but I'm talking about at the highest level, they never seem to have that panic in them, and that's why I have a little bit of hope. I think I listen, take the homer out of me. I think Kansas City's going to win the Super Bowl, but that's why I'm not completely losing hope, because I think that in the biggest, it's the weirdest thing with Brock Purdy. It's those first quarters where he looks out of sorts and lost, but when the moment is at the biggest. Even in his career at Iowa State, he has delivered in the big moments. And now he didn't get a whole lot of them at Iowa State, but that's neither here nor there. But the way he was able to use his feet last night and create plays in a positive sense. And listen, obviously, when you get the results, it's easy to say this is successful and this isn't. But that's why I'm willing to say that if Lamar Jackson could get it figured out upstairs, and I think it's all mental. I really do. He's clearly got all the physical tools, and I think you can win. I think you can win a Super Bowl with a run-first quarterback. I truly believe that. But I think he's got to know when to do it, and he needs to know how to do it in those situations. You need to know you only need 1 yard. You need to know that. even if you know you're going for it on fourth down, you have to be aware of the down and distance situation, whether it's 1st and 10 or it's 3rd and 1. You at all times, and it just feels like in that moment last night he had a lapse in judgment. And to your point, the one thing that we didn't talk about in the passing game is I don't know how much of an addition Mark Andrews was last night. Like when you
He
talk,
didn't
like,
look ready, did he?
Not even that, but you've had this cohesive unit for so long without Mark Andrews. And listen, I think Mark Andrews is a very good player, but you're adding a nuance into the offense that hasn't been there. And just human nature is, okay, well, do I need to get Mark the ball here? This was kind of the game plan at the beginning of the season, but Isaiah Likely has made this huge jump and has been a difference maker. I just think it creates so much extra thought in a position where you have to make a split-second decision, know where 10 other guys are heading at the same time, and know where 11 other guys are lined up and making a 3-second split decision. Oh, and by the way, now I have to think about this other thing that has just been added to this game plan that didn't necessarily need to happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't think Mark Andrews looked like the Mark Andrews that we're used to seeing. He wasn't getting separation. He wasn't as involved as a healthy Mark Andrews probably would have been. But I mean, honestly, the game boils down to Lamar Jackson not being able to hit open receivers. Agreed. And there were times, I think it was like late in the third quarter, early in the fourth, when he was holding the ball for so long, just holding the ball for
held up
5, 6, 7 seconds, when 3 seconds ago, he had a check down that was wide open. It's obvious at that point that nothing down the field is open, and you've got to take what the defense is giving you. It looked like he was so intent that they were going to make a big play, that they were going to break this game open. And I think this has happened with Nebraska quarterbacks under Scott Frost, where they were so intent on making the big play that they were unable to make the right play a lot of times.
I think you could make that, and not to even make it about Scott, I think you make that about the majority of quarterbacks, whether it be at the pro level or at the college level, in not taking what the defense gives you because in practice it was this. We were either hitting it for 20 on this play in practice or I was throwing it away. That doesn't need to be the case in the game. Like, yeah, you rep it that way, but if you have a situation where you need 7 yards and you have two guys running 12-yard out routes, but one guy is open for 7 yards, can run for an additional 15, that's the right move. Like, that's where you go with the ball there. Dan, when you look at what the difference between Lamar and Patrick Mahomes last night, what was your takeaway?
My biggest takeaway from last night was it just looked like one team was just better prepared.
Yeah.
And
that's the Andy Reid effect, man. I love John Harbaugh, and I think he's a really good coach. But when was the last time you saw an Andy Reid team come in unprepared? I don't think I've ever seen it.
And I never have in my entire lifetime. And to be fair, I just want to say I don't think it was so much. I mean, it was obviously on Lamar's passing because he wasn't hitting routes and he wasn't hitting open guys. But I think for some reason he's gotten a little bit gun shy with just taking off. I don't know what's happened to him, but it seemed like last night he was a bit gun shy on just being like, all right, well, I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to tuck it and run.
But we got to give credit where credit's due. Kansas City's defensive line did a really good job of containing him, I think, too. To your point, I think there was a little bit of an effort to keep him in the pocket, but I think Karlaftis and those guys up front did such a good job of just containing the edge and forcing everything back inside that I think Baltimore's offensive line did a really good job, but I think they did just a good enough job of – they weren't great, but they did a good enough job of containing Lamar Jackson. I think that had a lot to do with it.
I think there's another element to this whole conversation of why he doesn't seem to want to run the football, and it's because he wants to prove that he can be the prototypical NFL passing quarterback. You remember when he first came into the league, and he was very self-conscious about the people who told him he was a running back playing quarterback. That was a big deal to him. And now that he's got his team in the AFC Championship, he wants to go prove it that he's not that guy. He can win the game with his arm, when maybe that wasn't the best course of action. But I think you could see those gears turning throughout the game of like, I've got to make plays in the passing game for my own self-consciousness, right? And so that's a normal thing. That is a very human emotion, and you can't begrudge people that. But boy, sometimes you got to be able to put that stuff aside. The critics can't dictate the way you play the game.
Yeah, turn off Twitter for about 5 minutes. Speaking of Twitter, we're going to find out what's trending on social media when we come back here at 1620 The Zone. If you missed the 630 segment, check it out. SoundCloud.com/after hours 1620 was brought to you by Going Vertical Omaha. Going Vertical is the premier training facility in the Midwest, working with athletes as young as kindergarten all the way up into the pros. GVBA offers a variety of packages from individual workouts to group lessons. They also offer elite level sports performance training to athletes of all sports. Check out the academy at goingverticalomaha.com tonight. Dan Campen tells us what's going on in Elon's X. We come back 1620 Zone.
Hey everybody, Dan Campen here for Pepper Jack's Grill. You know what I like to do when I find myself alone for an entire weekend and I can eat whatever I want? I order 2 steak gunner Phillies from Pepper Jack's Grill at any one of their 10 great locations, because I can get it just the way that I want it. Extra cheese, grilled veggies, a little bit of that jalapeno juice in there to make it extra spicy, and it goes down just fine. And it's convenient for me, and it can be convenient for you as well. So go try out Pepper Jack's tonight, tomorrow, this weekend, whenever. Just get to Pepper Jack's.
The dream of playing the sport you love may be closer than you think. The Bellevue University Athletic Department proudly sports the best scholarship funding among NAIA programs in the state. To compete with the best, we need to recruit the best. All incoming freshmen earn a $5,000 scholarship when they enroll at Bellevue University. Learn more by looking us up at bubruins.com and reach out to your future coach today.
Did that trash or recycling truck roll by your house without stopping again? Hi, I'm Megan with Papillion Sanitation. At Papillion Sanitation, trash and recycling is our passion. From residential to commercial, we've cleaned up Omaha and surrounding areas for more than 30 years. So if your home or business needs reliable, friendly trash or recycle service, check out papillion-sanitation.com today and see how our customer service and professionalism can't be matched. Head over to papillion-sanitation.com to upgrade your trash or recycling service today.
It's history in the making as the Omaha Supernovas, your Major League Volleyball team, continue their inaugural season as they host the San Diego Mojo on Saturday, February 3rd at 6 p.m. World-class professional volleyball right here in Nebraska at the CHI Health Center. Secure your tickets and get to know your Supernovas by visiting supernovas.com. That's supernovas.com.
Hey Jays fans, it's hoop season and you know what that means. Jerry Ryan has the best selection in town for all things Creighton gear. Stop by Jerry Ryan at 78th and Dodge for your quarter zips in all shades of Jays blue, plus jackets, vests, winter coats, you name it. They have it. Multiple Jays options for men and women from Peter Millar, Cutter and Buck, and Johnny O. Stop by Jerry Ryan Clothing and dress like the coaches do.
At Jerry Ryan's, we bring out the best in you.
Graduation season will be here before you know it, and you can have the 402 barbecue truck come to your party or event you're hosting. Stop by the Brick and Mortar on 84th and Spring and try the food. Then, when you get the craving, come back and book the food truck to be the caterer for your event. Graduations, company outings, community events, they do it all. 402 Barbecue at 3027 South 84th Street. Stop by today and grab lunch.
It's cold, it's windy, you're stuck inside, but not for long. Spring will be here before you know it. And if you want to get off the couch and enjoy the outdoors when the mercury starts to rise, head over to ForsmansFinest.com today. Let the finest deck builders in the Omaha area come build you an outdoor experience you will love. A deck, a patio with a cover, there isn't much Forsmans can't do. Check out ForsmansFinest.com and have your dream outdoor experience in 2024.
The temperatures are dropping fast, and Old Man Winter is right around the corner. If your home isn't going to win the battle against the cold this year, let the #1 roofer in Omaha for 12 consecutive years come fight the battle for you. Let Pyramid Roofing come out and replace your gutters, your siding, your windows. They do it all. Give Pyramid a call tonight at 402-502-9300 or check out pyramidroof.com to book a free estimate today. Tell Old Man Winter to take a hike.
PyramidRoof.com, never settle for less.
Are you ready to elevate your taste buds? Look no further than Pepper Jacks, your go-to destination for bold flavors and endless choices. Dive into their mouth-watering rice bowls, crisp salads, hearty Phillies, savory burritos, and loaded nachos. What sets them apart? Complete customization. Choose your base, proteins, toppings, and sauces for a personalized culinary adventure. At Pepper Jacks, it's not just a meal, it's an experience. Unleash your cravings and savor the bold tastes at Pepper Jacks today. Life's too short for bland. Spice it up at Pepper Jacks.
Take your business to the next level. Reach more customers and expand your online presence. Pixel Fire Marketing is here to help. Pixel Fire Marketing creates high-quality professional websites tailored to your business. Their experts are with you every step of the way to make sure your website is visually appealing, user-friendly, and optimized for search engines. They also offer web design, development, hosting, and maintenance. Get started on your website. Visit pixelfiremarketing.com. That's pixelfiremarketing.com now to learn more.
You're listening to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
Wrapping up the first hour here on After Hours on 1620 Zone. John Schreiner, Jimmy Allen, Dan Campion with you here. We're brought to you by Bellevue University. You can keep up to date on all things Bellevue athletics by downloading the BU Bruins app tonight. It's time for the social media soundbite with Dan Campion. Heads over to our friend Twitter and lets us know what's going on. Dan, what do you got for us?
Well, over the weekend, we got to see a lot of celebrities attend football games.
We did.
Obviously, the one who always sets Twitter on fire is one Miss Taylor Swift.
Did you know she's dating Travis Kelce?
What? I would have never guessed that. But I think more importantly than anything, we need to give the celebrities who don't always get the shine for going to football games their shine. And this is just one gentleman right here. That's right. If you don't know those sweet, docile tones, and actually, John, can you tell me, are you able to hear the music right now?
I can hear it. Yeah.
There we go. We figured it out.
It's the East computer that we're sending stuff through. We'll talk about it next time you're in studio. It was a super fun conversation that I had in my head all last second with myself.
Scary place.
One guy, the founder of the Grateful Dead, or one of the original members of the Grateful Dead, Bob Weir, noted San Franciscan and 49er fan, was at the game this past weekend. And while you want to thank Ladybugs for your win, you might just have to thank the hippies. The Grateful Dead.
Hippies in San Francisco? Say it isn't so. Yeah, no, it was really cool to see all the celebrities out. Obviously, had Eminem giving the finger to the San Francisco faithful, and then Emmitt Smith. Emmitt Smith was not at the NFC Championship game,
but
Barry Sanders was, and getting to see him and Joe Montana interact before the game as well, and. It just, you have so many people that are former football people that live in the San Francisco area. For whatever reason, anytime that Frisco has a home game, you look across the sideline, there's always a former player from another team on the other side because they live in the Bay Area. So, yeah, it was very cool. Did you guys see, Dan, when we were talking about celebrities at football games, I thought you were going to play the Taylor Swift clip walking through the locker room. John, have you seen this?
Oh, no.
I don't believe I have. No.
Some guy yells at Taylor Swift, "You ruined football."
Oh,
her response was, "I didn't do anything." Which I side with our friend Taylor in this situation. Where are you at on the numerous shots of her at football games, and how do you feel about it?
I'll tell you exactly where I am. Grow up, you man babies. Come on. Just, my goodness. She's one of the most recognizable celebrities in the entire country. And
no.
If she's
one of the most recognizable people on the planet.
Exactly.
2 billion social media followers.
So if she's in attendance and she's dating a football player, like, of course she's going to be shown. Just, my goodness, get over yourself.
I am of the volition. We don't need to show her every time Travis Kelce does something. I get why it happens, but I'm not annoyed by it. Like
they show Brock Purdy's parents like 4 times a game.
Chubba was on TV 5 times last night, by the way.
Yeah, and let me just say, for any Taylor Swift hating, she ruined football men out there. I am friends with a lot of my fiance's friends, and they were all posting on social media, whether jaded or not, on Sunday. Not me turning on the football game voluntarily. And I was like, you know what, Elle? I know why you're turning it on, and I like it. Keep turning on the football game. It's wonderful right now that we get the privilege to introduce so many people to football. And it has to be the Kansas City Chiefs, for better, for worse. Who really cares? They're still watching football, baby.
I mean, I wonder how much people would be annoyed if Taylor Swift was dating somebody from the Panthers. You know what I mean? I wonder how much of the annoyance is actually just off of the fact that people have Chiefs exhaustion at this point. Like, you know what I mean? not only is it Taylor Swift, but it's the team. It's the new dynasty that everybody loves to hate.
Yeah, man. I have not been fond of the Chiefs for a very long time because I live in Omaha and I'm not a fan of the Chiefs. So I have to hear about them all the time. And that's fine. And they're a very good team and they're a dynasty. But even in my situation, I'm also not a fan of Taylor Swift's music. I don't care.
I don't dislike it, but I don't think I've never gone out of my way to listen to Taylor Swift. No.
Stop trying to be a gatekeeper and telling people that they can't like things for the reasons that they like things. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, Andrew makes a good point on Twitter. He weighs in and says, Taylor Swift is the new Jessica Simpson when it comes to camera time during football games. Do you guys remember that? Like, listen, every time Tony Romo took a snap, they cued the camera up to Jessica Simpson in the box. And I honestly think they showed Jessica Simpson more than they've showed Taylor Swift.
Oh, 100%. They're not even close to that level yet.
Yeah, let's get in there, though.
Pretty soon.
Travis Kelce has 2 touchdown catches in the Super Bowl. Taylor Swift may have more time on camera than Travis does.
Look, broadcasting sports is about making money. It has nothing to do with you getting to watch the game. It is about the television company selling advertisements and putting a product out there that you will sit in front of for 3 hours. It's not about you enjoying the game. They don't actually care that much if you like what they're showing, if at all. They just want you to sit there and watch it. And if they can put Taylor Swift on and get more people who were previously not watching football to watch football, they will do it, and they will do it a lot, and you have to live with it.
Yeah, I actually saw a statistic today from Adweek that said just by having Taylor Swift attend the games, she is not involved. She is not doing anything besides maybe paying for a ticket and going to a football game. The NFL has basically generated $3.3 billion of free revenue from social media and ad space clips that they've been able to sell. It's ridiculous.
Speaking of ads,
and wonderful. Good for Roger Goodell.
Speaking of ad space and marketing, hey, if you need help with social media marketing or online advertising, pixelfiremarketing.com is here to help. They're the sponsor of this segment. You can have your own version of Taylor Swift. You can have your commercials in certain parts of the city on social media. They can build you a website. They can design a logo for you. They can do it all. Check out pixelfiremarketing.com. They're right here local in Omaha. Tell Dan DeSivey and crew we sent you over there. We'll be right back. Who has a better chance of making it back to the conference championship game next year between the Lions and the Ravens? We debate here on 1620 The Zone. Hey everyone, it's Jimmy on here for Forsman's Finest Decks. Spring is right around the corner, and if you're like me and you can finally see a little bit of green peeking through that snow and you're getting excited to be outside sooner rather than later, but your house suffers from naked house syndrome and you're embarrassed to have people over because, you know, it's a little embarrassing if your house suffers from that. Let the finest deck builders in Omaha come build you a deck, put a cover on it, add that something that your house has been missing. Head over to Forsman's Finest Decks, forsmansfinest.com tonight. Get your naked house syndrome fixed.
Are you looking to be part of a winning tradition? The Bellevue University Bruins could be the right fit for you. Whether on the court or on the field, track or course, our student athletes strive and succeed. This year, Bellevue teams and individuals have combined to win 11 conference championships, with 8 teams qualifying for their national tournaments. Plus, nearly 50 student athletes were also named to all conference teams. Find out more about our tradition of excellence at BUBruins.com.
It's history in the making as the Omaha Supernovas, your Major League Volleyball team, continue their inaugural season as they host the San Diego Mojo on Saturday, February 3rd at 6 p.m. World-class professional volleyball right here in Nebraska at the CHI Health Center. Secure your tickets and get to know your Supernovas by visiting supernovas.com. That's supernovas.com.
Hey, Jays fans, it's hoop season, and you know what that means. Jerry Ryan has the best selection in town for all things Creighton gear. Stop by Jerry Ryan at 78th and Dodge for your quarter zips in all shades of Jays blue, plus jackets, vest, winter coats, you name it. They have it. Multiple Jays options for men and women from Peter Millar, Cutter and Buck, and Johnny O. Stop by Jerry Ryan Clothing and dress like the coaches do.
At Jerry Ryan's, we bring out the best in you.
It's cold, it's windy, you're stuck inside, but not for long. Spring will be here before you know it. And if you want to get off the couch and enjoy the outdoors when the mercury starts to rise, head over to ForsmansFinest.com today. Let the finest deck builders in the Omaha area come build you an outdoor experience you will love. A deck, a patio with a cover, there isn't much Forsmans can't do. Check out ForsmansFinest.com and have your dream outdoor experience in 2024.
Going Vertical Basketball Academy is the premier sports performance training facility in the Midwest. Working with athletes as young as kindergarten all the way to college and the pros, GVBA offers a variety of packages from individual workouts to group sessions. They also offer elite-level sports performance training for athletes of all sports. Check out the academy at 10700 Sapp Brothers Drive in Omaha or at goingverticalomaha.com. That's goingverticalomaha.com.
The temperatures are dropping fast, and Old Man Winter is right around the corner. If your home isn't going to win the battle against the cold this year, let the #1 roofer in Omaha for 12 consecutive years come fight the battle for you. Let Pyramid Roofing come out and replace your gutters, your siding, your windows. They do it all. Give Pyramid a call tonight at 402-502-9300 or check out pyramidroof.com to book a free estimate today. Tell Old Man Winter to take a hike.
PyramidRoof.com, never settle for less.
Shrimp Fest at Shucks Fish House is going on now through Wednesday, featuring crispy shrimp, buffalo shrimp, shrimp cocktail, and others. All for $5 a dozen at all 3 Shucks locations. Get the whole scoop on the shrimp at shucksfishhouse.com.
Hey everyone, Josh and John here for the FanDuel Sportsbook. Happy Super Bowl to all who celebrate, John, from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And with the big game this year, new customers, go to FanDuel.com/1620 and you can get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Whether it's the team that you like, whether it's a total you like, just go to FanDuel.com/1620 and take advantage today.
FanDuel always gives us great props, but of course the Super Bowl itself is the game that ultimately decided what the props were all about, and there are going to be plenty for the big game. So just make that first $5 winning bet and get $200 in bonus bets if that bet wins. For new customers, just visit FanDuel.com/1620. That's FanDuel.com/1620. 21 plus in present in Iowa. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
Welcome back to the After Hours Lounge here on 1620 The Zone. John Schreiner, Jimmy Allen, Dan Campion with you here for the next 50 minutes. And counting this hour is brought to you by Papillion Sanitation. If you're looking for a new career, head over to papillion-sanitation.com. Become a driver. Even if you don't have a CDL, they will help you get one. There's even a $10,000 stick-around bonus as well. It's time for Buy or Sell, where we gauge the market on the following topics. Dan?
Both the Lions and the Ravens lost their respective conference championship games. In case you haven't heard, because you're just barely tuning into the After Hours Lounge, shame on you.
People just got off work.
But buy or sell that each team is the team to beat in their respective division next year.
Ooh, in their respective division. So that means the Ravens would win the AFC North and the Lions would win the NFC North.
I have some thoughts about one of those.
I'm selling on the Ravens because Joe Burrow comes back healthy next year, and I actually think that when Joe Burrow is healthy, the Bengals have the best roster in that division. It's gonna be interesting to see what Cleveland does at quarterback. I think Watson's back for another year, but what about you, John? What do you say about the AFC?
I'm buying it. I'm buying the Ravens winning the division because regular season Lamar Jackson is really good. And regular season Lamar Jackson is almost unbeatable, as we saw this season. They stomped all over a whole bunch of good teams this year. So I think they win the division. The playoffs is a different story.
As far as the Lions in the NFC North, man, I think they are. I think they're the team to beat. I think Green Bay is going to be really good next year. I think they're going to take a giant step forward. But man, it's going to be interesting what happens with Kirk Cousins. That Vikings roster should be really good.
Should be is the key word there, though, Jimmy. That Vikings roster has been a little bit interesting. I have a feeling
keeps getting pared down and pared down and pared down. And I know Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson, and who else do they have?
Exactly.
I mean, they've got a pretty solid run game. That offensive line is pretty good. I mean, if Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson should be really all you need, but TJ Hawkinson has been banged up this year, and they should get him back next season. So I mean, they've got potential to be one of the best wide receiver groups in the NFL, and you couple that with a guy like Alexander Mattison, who's been good. Tyson Chandler was a lot better than they thought he was going to be this season. KJ Osborne is a guy that can give you a lot too, and I just don't think that they've reached their potential because I think they've been a little handicapped by some of their quarterback play, even when Kirk Cousins is available, because this point in his career he's a little more limited than he has been. But I don't know. I think that roster could be really good.
Yeah, I think they're in the market for a quarterback, though.
Yeah.
I have a feeling they're giving maybe Kirk Cousins one more year, and that might be pushing it. I think they're definitely looking for his replacement right now.
Yeah, I also think the Lions are the team to beat in that division. I talked earlier about the rookie and backup quarterback fallacy. I think Jordan Love is going to experience some of that next season. Teams are going to have a lot of tape on him, and I think we'll see him take at least a small step back. I don't believe in the Bears. I don't believe in the Vikings. So, I mean, and I do believe in Dan Campbell. I think he's going to be back as good or better next year.
Did it surprise you that when Dan Campbell took to the podium after last night's game, the first thing he talked about was like the inability to keep this roster together essentially for next season? Like, he brought that up right away.
Well, that's always the question, isn't it? Is
what's
your cap look like?
It's just really surprised me how quickly he jumped. Like, that was basically like the first thing he said after they just lost the NFC.
Setting expectations early.
Yeah, it was very weird. All right, Dan, what else you got?
Well, Andy Reid was very fired up when talking to ESPN today when asked if the Chiefs wide receiver Kadarius Toney's injury was made up. Give this a listen.
I haven't seen it. I've heard. I actually haven't seen it. I've heard people talk about it, but yeah, he'll be back out there, and we'll see how he does. Obviously, he's been on the injury report, so I mean, I got that part as that's not made up by any means, but he's been working through some things, and he'll be back out there.
Could you imagine a world where coaches are just making up injuries to keep guys that have had some boneheaded plays like just off of the field? and what player is going to go along with that? I'm absolutely selling.
And what's the point?
Yeah.
What are you trying to do?
Not have a wide receiver line up offsides again?
Because
drop 3 key passes on the season?
If he's not playing well and you want to play a different wide receiver, then you play the other wide receiver and you make him inactive. You don't just put him on the injury report.
Right.
Like that doesn't make any sense.
Or talk to your GM to cut him. Yeah.
No, people are making a mountain out of a molehill here. It's absolutely a nothing burger. There's nothing to it. He's injured, And I mean, maybe he's going through some mental health things because of I don't know. Andy Reid says he's working through things, right? He's working through things. We have to take that for what it says. He's been on the injury report. Like, I don't understand what's the motivation to make up an injury for him.
Yeah, and it obviously all stems from that play where he was lined up off sides. Like I think anybody that believes this is stemming it from that, because it felt like he was kind of the last straw for a lot of fans. Andy Reid's not a fan. He gets paid to coach this team, so he's not making up injuries to keep guys off the field.
By the way, the majority of the reporting on this story actually stems from Kadarius Toney. I want to say it was after the Chiefs game last night, going live over a black screen on Instagram and basically calling out everyone and their mother who's involved with the Kansas City Chiefs and basically saying, I'm not injured. They're holding me out because they don't want me in the game.
It doesn't make sense.
With, of course, a bunch more expletives and whatnot, but he's saying that he's not hurt. That is him saying that.
Well, he can say that, but if the team doctor evaluates you and says that you're injured and you can't play, there's a lot of guys who will try to play through it and need to be protected from themselves in that situation. So, I mean, I don't even necessarily believe him.
Yeah,
really.
But I mean, I think not that this is apples to apples, but I think about the Antonio Brown situation, and I kind of wish before it got to that level, somebody would have done something like holding Antonio Brown out to kind of let him see, how things are going to shake out and understand this is bigger than you. And I listen, him throwing his pads into the stands is probably one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my entire life. But I feel like there was a lot of things that could have happened to avoid that situation. And Andy Reid feels like a guy that can solve a lot of those things. Dan, what else you got for us?
Well, speaking of the Chiefs, last night, Justin Tucker walked down to the Chiefs end zone and started warming up. Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes then grabbed Tucker's holder and helmet and chucked it off the field. Buy or sell Kelce and Mahomes being in the right here.
Yeah, so Justin Tucker has done this a couple times. This is what's getting talked about. Justin Tucker has done this a couple of times. It kind of does it to screw with the other team. Like when the specialists are out there, the field is open. But when you have your team, like the whole team comes out for warm-ups, the field is divided 50-50. And for anybody that hasn't seen this video yet, go watch it, because Justin Tucker is dying laughing in the background while this is happening. Like this was legitimately a let's poke the bear situation. Oops. It didn't work out.
No, he got exactly the response he wanted. He wanted them to get upset. He was trying to make them uncomfortable. He was trying to get a reaction, to get a rise out of them, to do anything to get them to focus on something other than their warm-ups, right? Like this is a mind game. And is Travis Kelce in the right? Probably. I mean, he's not.
Absolutely.
Tucker's not supposed to be there, but Justin Tucker got what he wanted.
I think
it didn't ultimately work, but
we all wish we had a buddy like Travis Kelce. It's like, hey, just let me go throw these grown men out of the area you're throwing a football in, and just hope they do try to do something about it.
Hey, Pat, we got a problem.
Yeah,
I'll take care of it right now.
I'm actually old enough, Jimmy, that I don't want to be around people who
that's good.
Who seek out confrontation.
That's my point, though. Like, just let my goon here handle it. Yeah, Travis, go take care of business, and I'll just keep throwing these footballs over here.
Everybody wants a lackey.
Yeah, we got time for one more.
All right. Do we want rules or more NFL talk? It's all NFL talk.
Rules.
I knew you'd be a rules guy, John.
You knew it.
Weeks and key moments, we've seen someone dive for the end zone and fumble the ball out of the back of the end zone. There's been a lot of speculation of the NFL changing this rule. Buy or sell that fumbling the ball out of the end zone should be a touchback, and should this rule be changed?
So the Zay Flowers fumble didn't go out of the end zone. It was recovered in the end zone.
That is correct.
So I'm just wondering aloud here, what's the alternative? What do you want to happen in that situation?
There's a lot of people that feel like the ball should be downed at the 1, which I think is absolutely horrendous.
Terrible. That's a terrible idea.
You can't reward people for fumbling.
If the ball is fumbled through the end zone, it should be a touchback and the ball should be awarded to the other team. It's not a bad rule. People just get upset when their team does it. And
Bing,
and
bing,
then
bing, 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 bing.
want to complain about it because they were so close to scoring and made a mistake that cost them a chance at points. Well, I'm sorry, but you don't deserve points if you fumbled the ball out of the end zone. This is a good rule. I like this rule. I think it's a rule that makes the game more exciting because rather than being loose with the football to try and extend it over the goal line, you have to play with proper technique and keep a tight hold on the ball. This is a good rule.
Yeah, I love this rule. I don't think it should go away. It's the only thing that makes sense. We don't need to fix things for the sake of fixing things. I'm with it. Hey, if you missed Buy or Sell tonight, you don't got to fix any of it. You can check it out, SoundCloud.com/AfterHours1620. It was brought to you by the Omaha Supernovas. If you missed their first game this season, no big deal. You can catch your professional volleyball team this weekend. The San Diego Mojo are coming to town on Saturday. You can head over to supernovas.com and purchase your tickets tonight. We'll be right back giving you some trash takes here on The Zone.
Hey everyone, Dan Campion here reminding you that tomorrow night is our remote at Caddyshack Bar and Grill. Stop by 117th and Blondo tomorrow night between 6 and 8 p.m. Catch After Hours. We'll have gift cards to give away, and you never know what special guests may show up. See you all at Caddyshack Bar and Grill on 117th and Blondo tomorrow night.
Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Partly cloudy and cooling off tonight. Low temperatures dropping back to around 30. Partly cloudy to start on Tuesday, turning mostly sunny, just a little bit cooler with a northwest breeze. High temperature in the lower 40s. I am Chief Meteorologist Bill Ranby from KETV News Watch 7.
There's never been a better time to choose a new career path than right now. Hi, I'm Tracy with Papillion Sanitation. If you're at a point in your life where you want a career, not a job, Papillion Sanitation is the place for you. From 401k options to opportunities for career advancement, come make Papillion Sanitation your future. Check out papillion-sanitation.com today to apply and make a change for the better. Papillion Sanitation, equal opportunity employer.
Ready to make a positive impact in a young boy's life? Join Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Midlands and become a mentor where you are matched up with a boy in the greater Omaha area. Over 50 boys are waiting for someone like you to guide and inspire them. Visit mentoromaha.org and sign up to make a difference in a boy's life. Don't wait. Make a lasting impact today.
The dream of playing the sport you love may be closer than you think. The Bellevue University Athletic Department proudly sports the best scholarship funding among NAIA programs in the state. To compete with the best, we need to recruit the best. All incoming freshmen earn a $5,000 scholarship when they enroll at Bellevue University. Learn more by looking us up at bubruins.com and reach out to your future coach today.
It's history in the making as the Omaha Supernovas, your Major League Volleyball team, continue their inaugural season as they host the San Diego Mojo on Saturday, February 3rd at 6 p.m. World-class professional volleyball right here in Nebraska at the CHI Health Center. Secure your tickets and get to know your Supernovas by visiting supernovas.com. That's supernovas.com.
When you think Caddyshack, you think about an unforgettable dining experience. Stop in for Meatloaf Monday for just $10.95. Tuesdays are all about the happy with dollar drinks during all-day happy hour. Celebrate a Wing Wednesday with After Hours. Thursday is Spaghetti Night for $10.95 a plate. Or grab some lunch on Fridays with the $12.95 hot beef sandwich. Caddyshack. 2 great locations off of 117th and Blondo and 180th and Harrison. The official watering hole of After Hours on 1620 The Zone.
Graduation season will be here before you know it, and you can have the 402 barbecue truck come to your party or event you're hosting. Stop by the Brick and Mortar on 84th and Spring and try the food. Then, when you get the craving, come back and book the food truck to be the caterer for your event. Graduations, company outings, community events, they do it all. 402 Barbecue at 3027 South 84th Street. Stop by today and grab lunch.
Going Vertical Basketball Academy is the premier sports performance training facility in the Midwest. Working with athletes as young as kindergarten all the way to college and the pros, GVBA offers a variety of packages from individual workouts to group sessions. They also offer elite-level sports performance training for athletes of all sports. Check out the academy at 10700 Sap Brothers Drive in Omaha or at goingverticalomaha.com. That's goingverticalomaha.com.
Take your business to the next level. Reach more customers and expand your online presence. Pixel Fire Marketing is here to help. Pixel Fire Marketing creates high-quality professional websites tailored to your business. Their experts are with you every step of the way to make sure your website is visually appealing, user-friendly, and optimized for search engines. They also offer web design, development, hosting, and maintenance. Get started on your website. Visit pixelfiremarketing.com. That's pixelfiremarketing.com now to learn more.
Pro volleyball season is here in Omaha. Chesterman Coca-Cola and Hy-Vee have partnered with the Omaha Supernovas. Right now, when you stop by any Omaha area Hy-Vee and pick up 2 12-packs of Coke, you can get a third one free. Plus, if you need to stay hydrated, do it with the all-new Body Armor Zero Sugar. You can get 10 for just $10. Coke and any Hy-Vee, keeping the Omaha Supernovas super.
Now back to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
7:27 on a Monday night here on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Papillion Sanitation. John Schreiner, Jimmy Allen, Dan Campion with you here on 1620 The Zone. We'll take your phone calls, 402-951-1620, or you can reach out to the show at After Hours 1620. What we're going to do here is we're all going to give you a hot take. Put out a poll on Twitter and we'll let you vote and tell us who had the best and who had the trashiest take tonight. Gentlemen, who wants to start us off?
I'll give it a go.
All right. I was going to say, well, if there's no volunteers, I guess that's me. But John, if you want it, go ahead.
All right. So the Iowa Hawkeyes fired offensive coordinator Brian Ferentz, and they hired offensive coordinator Brian Ferentz. I mean, so. Really, they hired former Western Michigan coach Tim Lester, who was an offensive analyst with the Packers last season. So Tim Lester got fired from Western Michigan after going 5-7 in 2022. But why was he fired? Because their offense was bottom 10 in the country. This is not going to make
in the country.
This is not going to make any difference. It's more of the same from Iowa. They're just going to keep setting football back another decade. Tim Lester, will he improve Iowa's offense? Maybe, because he's not Brian Ferentz, but not very much.
Yeah. Well, I now have to change my trash take of the night.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to weigh on this as well. No,
do it.
No,
I have a different take.
Yeah, I'll have a different take because I had a couple lined up and I didn't know what I was going to go to, but I thought this was going to be untouched. But yeah, this just feels like Kirk Ferentz putting down 4 of his fingers and letting one be directed to his athletic department. Like, okay, well, you want me to fire my son? I'm going to go out and hire the same exact person. I really believe that that Kirk Ferentz thinks that his defense will take a step back if their offense is any more productive. And it has to be frustrating when you win 10 games and make it to a Big Ten championship and people are telling you you're doing it wrong. Like, that has to be a little bit frustrating to some degree. But they're right. You are doing it wrong. Like, imagine how much better your team would be if, I don't know, you could score points or move the football in a forward direction. It would go a long, long way.
That was a national championship level defense that they had last year.
You can argue for the last 4 years. They've been really, really good defensively. And he just seems like he's just too stuck in his ways. And it almost feels like we've reached the point where Kirk Ferentz is begging his athletic department to fire him. Like, okay, you're going to have to pay me to leave.
Yep.
Otherwise, I'm not going anywhere. And if you want to fire my son, I'll go out and probably get somebody worse just to stick it to you. I'll give mine because I know Dan's overdoing something on the computer. One of the other ones I wanted to talk about tonight that we didn't have time to get to was Creighton's role right now and how much this team is gelling since the calendar has turned to January. Obviously, they're 7-1 since the calendar flipped to a new year. But I think more importantly than that, this team just kind of feels like they're finding their rhythm at the right time. And Trey Alexander is getting back to doing Trey Alexander things for the second time this month. He's been nominated as the Big East Player of the Week. And outside of him, Stephen Ashworth is playing much better defense. Like, I know he got brought into Creighton to be a shooter and shoot the three ball and be more effective on offense. But the way he's creating offense off of defense for other guys should count as an assist. And that's really been the difference. You look back at the way that UConn game ended, and the one thing that Creighton has done differently since then, other than stepping up their game on the defensive side of the ball, is they've gotten Ryan Kalkbrenner involved in the offense. Post that UConn game, Ryan Kalkbrenner has scored north of 17 points for 3 consecutive games. If Creighton can continue to create offense off of turnovers and get Ryan Kalkbrenner involved offensively, this team has a legit shot at going on a similar run as it did a year ago. Now, they've got to have similar luck that they had in the NCAA tournament, but they also have to this is a recipe for success going forward. And I think if you can continue on this trajectory, I think an Elite Eight, a Sweet 16 is not out of the realm of possibilities. And I would not have said that a month ago. I thought this team was a tournament team, but I didn't know if they were going to get to the second weekend.
Yeah, I think they've got to keep building their resume because they need to stay in a top 4 seed line. If they fall below that,
that's going to be the case.
Yeah, if they fall below that 4, it's going to get real tough in a hurry to make it out of the first weekend.
They're in luck because they still get UConn at home. You still get a chance to play Marquette at home, and you get another shot at Seton Hall too. So, Dan, your trash take of the evening.
The Twins of Minnesota are going to win the World Series this year. Don't ask me why. It's getting a little bit too early, and who really gives a crap? Because the Twins are going to win the World Series. It sounds like we're exercising our option on Jorge Polanco, and he will stay in the Twin Cities this year. And I think that is going to be what it takes to get us over the hump, as long as we don't get Duran off the bump.
I love it. It is never too early for baseball talk. You got pitchers and catchers reporting in less than 3 weeks. I think this is perfect timing for way too early World Series predictions. We might throw this into the show at some point this week too.
Man, I didn't realize you were a Twins fan. A guy from the UP. You could have had the Tigers, the Brewers, but it's the Twins, huh?
It's the Twins. So I'm a UP guy for college, but the first 7 years of my life were spent in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So I pulled in some of those teams that my dad really didn't care about all that much, like baseball and basketball. You know? So, I keep my UFTAs and I keep my Minnesota Nice in my back pocket, and I root for the Twins and I root for the Minnesota Timberwolves. It does help that I grew up with Kevin Garnett as like the biggest star in Minnesota. Yes. So
those were our trash takes of the night. Head over to our Twitter page at After Hours 1620. There will be some rendition of those responses on there. You can vote for who had the best one, and the least amount of votes will be the trashiest take of the night. If you missed it, check it out at soundcloud.com/After Hours 1620. Was brought to you by Forsman's Finest Decks. Warmer temperatures are right around the corner. If your house suffers from naked house syndrome, dress it up a little bit. Let the finest deck builders in Omaha can build you a deck, put a cover on it, add that something that your house has been missing. Head over to forsmansfinest.com. Have your dream deck built this spring. Forsman's Finest Decks, building the finest decks Omaha has to offer. We'll be right back telling you where every quarterback on the market is heading next season in the NFL. Here on 1620 The Zone. Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for Pepper Jack's Grill. It's late night. Late night hunger starting to hit you a little harder than it should have during the workday because you missed lunch today. Pepper Jack's has a solution for you. Multiple options. You can get a Philly sandwich. You can get a steak rice bowl. If you're not a big red meat person, they've got chicken options. Maybe you're on a diet and you're trying to be healthier. They have salads. They have nachos. They have it all. Check it out at Pepper Jack's. They've got 10 great locations. You stop by tonight and grab dinner.
Did that trash recycling truck roll by your house without stopping again? Hi, I'm Megan with Papillion Sanitation. At Papillion Sanitation, trash and recycling is our passion. From residential to commercial, we've cleaned up Omaha and surrounding areas for more than 30 years. So if your home or business needs reliable, friendly, trash, or recycle service, check out papillion-sanitation.com today and see how our customer service and professionalism can't be matched. Head over to papillion-sanitation.com to upgrade your trash or recycling service today.
Are you looking to be part of a winning tradition? The Bellevue University Bruins could be the right fit for you.
Whether on the court or on the field, track, or course, our student athletes strive and succeed. This year, Bellevue teams and individuals have combined to win 11 conference championships, with 8 teams qualifying for their national tournaments. Plus, nearly 50 student athletes were also named to all conference teams. Find out more about our tradition of excellence at BUBruins.com.
Hey Jays fans, it's hoop season and you know what that means. Jerry Ryan has the best selection in town for all things Creighton gear. Stop by Jerry Ryan at 78th and Dodge for your quarter zips in all shades of Jays blue, plus jackets, vest, winter coats, you name it. They have it. Multiple Jays options for men and women from Peter Millar, Cutter and Buck, and Johnny O. Stop by Jerry Ryan Clothing and dress like the coaches do.
At Jerry Ryan's, we bring out the best in you.
When you think Caddyshack, you think about an unforgettable dining experience. Stop in for Meatloaf Monday for just $10.95. Tuesdays are all about the happy with dollar drinks during all-day happy hour. Celebrate a Wing Wednesday with after hours. Thursday is spaghetti night for $10.95 a plate. Or grab some lunch on Fridays with the $12.95 hot beef sandwich. Caddyshack. 2 great locations off of 117th and Blondo and 180th and Harrison. The official watering hole of After Hours on 1620 The Zone.
It's cold, it's windy, you're stuck inside, but not for long. Spring will be here before you know it. And if you want to get off the couch and enjoy the outdoors when the mercury starts to rise, head over to Foresman'sFinest.com today. Let the finest deck builders in the Omaha area come build you an outdoor experience you will love. A deck, a patio with a cover, there isn't much Forsman's can't do. Check out Foresman'sFinest.com and have your dream outdoor experience in 2024.
Are you ready to elevate your taste buds? Look no further than Pepper Jacks, your go-to destination for bold flavors and endless choices. Dive into their mouth-watering rice bowls, crisp salads, hearty Phillies, savory burritos, and loaded nachos. What sets them apart? Complete customization. Choose your base, proteins, toppings, and sauces for a personalized culinary adventure. At Pepper Jacks, it's not just a meal, it's an experience. Unleash your cravings and savor the bold tastes at Pepper Jacks today. Life's too short for bland. Spice it up at Pepper Jacks.
Going Vertical Basketball Academy is the premier sports performance training facility in the Midwest. Working with athletes as young as kindergarten all the way to college and the pros, GVBA offers a variety of packages from individual workouts to group sessions. They also offer elite-level sports performance training for athletes of all sports. Check out the Academy at 10700 Sap Brothers Drive in Omaha or at GoingVerticalOmaha.com. That's GoingVerticalOmaha.com.
Take your business to the next level. Reach more customers and expand your online presence. Pixel Fire Marketing is here to help. Pixel Fire Marketing creates high-quality professional websites tailored to your business. Their experts are with you every step of the way to make sure your website is visually appealing, user-friendly, and optimized for search engines. They also offer web design, development, hosting, and maintenance. Get started on your website. Visit pixelfiremarketing.com. That's pixelfiremarketing.com now to learn more.
Pro volleyball season is here in Omaha. Chesterman Coca-Cola and Hy-Vee have partnered with the Omaha Supernovas. Right now, when you stop by any Omaha area Hy-Vee and pick up 2 12-packs of Coke, you can get a third one free. Plus, if you need to stay hydrated, do it with the all-new Body Armor Zero Sugar. You can get 10 for just $10. Coke and any Hy-Vee, keeping the Omaha Supernovas super.
You are listening to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
7:39 on I almost said Friday night. That's where I'm at, boys.
Whoa.
It's a Monday night here on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Papillion Sanitation. If you're looking for a new career, you can head over to papillion-sanitation.com. Become a driver. Even if you don't have a CDL, they will help you get one. Even a $10,000 stick around bonus. That's a chunk of change, folks. But right now, as the NFL season creeps to an end and they're ready to crown their champions, which will eventually be the San Francisco 49ers, we have to look at what next season holds in the free agent market, specifically from a quarterback standpoint. And the 3 guys that are kind of at the top of where will they be next year's list are Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins, and Baker Mayfield. And I think Russ is the most intriguing one of that group. Obviously, he's the only one with a Super Bowl ring or even a Super Bowl appearance. But I think what happens with Denver is very interesting. Where do you think Russell Wilson ends up, John Schreiner? And what do you think the Broncos do at quarterback?
Yeah, so I read in the ESPN article that they think he's going to end up at the Raiders. And I think this is a major miscalculation because does Antonio Pierce strike you as the guy who wants to work with
that? Yeah.
wants to work with Russell Wilson? Captain Cornball on the same team as Max Crosby doesn't seem like it's a good fit for me. No, I think Russell Wilson.
No smoking in the locker room. It's really bad for my lungs.
Sierra might have to teach Russ a thing or two for him to fit into that locker.
Sierra can smell it on my clothes, guys. It's not nice.
I think Russell Wilson's going to end up being the quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings.
Wow.
I feel like is what you just said. They're kind of done with Kirk Cousins. They are going to do something dumb. They're going to get Russell Wilson in there to try and work with that receiving core that they have. And I honestly don't see it working out. As far as Denver at quarterback, well, now they're in a big spot because they're on a hook for a lot of money for Russell Wilson.
Does Russ get to keep his office?
Yeah, I don't think so. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, I think the Broncos, like the two most interesting open teams with open availability at quarterback for me are the Bears because obviously they're picking first overall, and what do they do with Justin Fields? And then it's Denver after that because I want to see what Sean Payton decides to go what direction he goes in because kind of feels like Kirk Cousins would be a Sean Payton guy, right?
It that kind of feels right to some degree. I don't know that they can afford Kirk Cousins.
Yeah,
they're honestly.
Did you just call him Coke Cousins?
I almost called him Coke Cousins.
He's more like Kirk Cousins. We don't know.
He's more like Diet Coke Cousins. But
no, I was thinking a different iteration of Coke.
No, I don't think Denver can afford him. So I mean, they might be just stuck with what they've got for a year.
Yeah. Which isn't a whole lot.
Isn't a whole lot.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to be scraping the bottom of the barrel, I have a feeling.
What if Russell Wilson ends up in Washington?
Yeah, I don't like that one bit.
Really?
I don't want him anywhere near the team that I like.
For that offense.
Goodness.
Because if you can get some iteration of what you saw in Seattle, he's obviously anybody would take him, but I think I just think I don't think he wants to. He doesn't come off to me as a guy that wants to play football anymore. Like he doesn't look like he enjoys it.
So the Russell Wilson that was in Seattle was, I think, less concerned about his image.
Agreed.
He was kind of low key. He wasn't out there in the public eye very much. He played with a team that was full of a bunch of nasty dudes, right? The Legion of Boom. You had Marshawn Lynch. That was a physical, down and dirty football team, and Russell Wilson could just kind of blend in and play the game. When he got to Denver, he was expected to be the face of the franchise now. He was the de facto face of the franchise in Seattle, but it was kind of like he was given that role not by his own choice. It was just put upon him.
Agreed.
He chose to go to Denver with the huge contract and become the face of the franchise, and he was really bad at it. He came off as such a phony, such a cornball, and I don't think the team ever believed in him as the guy that was going to lead them.
What do you think happens with Kirk Cousins then?
Yeah, I think Kirk Cousins is the guy who goes to the Raiders. I think that he's a guy that he's almost as corny as Russell Wilson, but he's not as
in a good way. He's corny in a good way.
Yeah, he's not as flamboyant about his corniness, right? He owns it.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins is doing high knees on the plane at 2 a.m. on the way over to Germany.
Kirk Cousins isn't trying to be cool, right? He
just is.
He's just Kirk Cousins, right? So I think you can work with him, and I think with the roster that they have in Vegas, they want to run the ball, and to have him, good play action quarterback. I think you've got something to work with. I think he ends up in Vegas.
When we talk
what say you?
I think this may be. I don't know if this is a hot take. I think Kirk Cousins is going to be on a broadcast somewhere next year.
Oh,
I think when the only guy left on this list that comes off to me like they still want to play football is Baker Mayfield, and I think Kirk Cousins would be really good as a broadcaster too. And for a guy that has as many children as he does and enjoys the home life, I think if you put a check in front of him that was worth it, because I think he'd be really good at it too. I think he may consider maybe walking away from football, and because I mean people forget like him and RG3 were in the same exact draft class,
drafted by the same team.
Do you remember, John?
I remember, yeah.
But I wonder how much he's got left in the tank. And when you have guys like Jordan Addison, like Justin Jefferson, like you feel like you can do something with, and you go to a team, whether it be the Raiders or wherever, and you just don't feel as excited about it at Kirk's age. I wonder how much longer he's gonna do it.
Yeah, that's a good point, and I could certainly see that happening as well.
The last guy on the list is Baker Mayfield, and I think we've already talked about this, and I think we're in agreement with this. You think he ends up back in Tampa?
I do. I think they're going to pay him based on the run that they went on at the end of the season, and what he did in the playoffs. I think it's created a new sense of belief around him. He's been a little bit of a different guy.
Yeah, he's looked like Baker Mayfield. He's looked like Baker Mayfield. Yeah,
yeah. So I mean, maybe this is a career renaissance for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously up for comeback player of the year this year for a reason. Dan, you got any takes on any one of those three quarterbacks before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I think so. I think Baker Mayfield stays in Tampa. I think they've seen the success and they really, I guess, just for lack of a better term, enjoy it. They see the spark that he can kind of provide to a team. And he seems like the old Baker Mayfield again, which is, always a positive for a team that's kind of evaluating. I think Kirk Cousins maybe gets one more year in Minnesota. I'm going to stick to my guns on that one either, because I think they kind of like the old gunslinger and the kind of everyman kind of weirdness that he brings to that team.
Such a man.
And then I think Russell Wilson rides off into the sunset on his pony with his saddlebags packed with millions upon millions of dollars. I don't want to see him go anywhere else. I'm off the Russell Wilson train for a hot minute.
Everybody's over it.
It's become too much of a dog and pony show with him, where it's what's he going to do? Where's he going to go? How's he going to react to a new coach? At this point, it's time for him just to hang up his cowboy hat and retire.
You don't think he wants to create another catchphrase somewhere?
God, I hope not.
Not after how well the last one went. Let's ride. Hey, you can always catch this dog and pony show while you're riding off in the sunset at soundcloud.com/afterhours1620. It was brought to you by our friends at Going Vertical Omaha. Going Vertical is the premier training facility in the Midwest, working with athletes as young as kindergarten all the way up through the pros. GVBA has a built-in podcast studio now, so if you have a recruit in your life, needs to get a little more attention, get trained the right way, and be able to put correct information on the recruiting page, check out GVBA at goingverticalomaha.com tonight. We'll be right back. Not finding out straight on social media, but we're going to tell you exactly how you can win some money here on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, everybody. John Schreiner here for Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. We all know Jerry Ryan is the premier suit buying experience in Omaha, but did you know that Jerry Ryan is also an exclusive retailer of brands like Mizzen & Main and Johnny O? Stop by Jerry Ryan Clothing on 78th and Dodge. Get your suit game right. Get your closet looking good today.
There's never been a better time to choose a new career path than right now. Hi, I'm Tracy with Papillion Sanitation. If you're at a point in your life where you want a career, not a job, Papillion Sanitation is the place for you. From 401k options to opportunities for career advancement, come make Papillion Sanitation your future. Check out papillion-sanitation.com today to apply and make a change for the better. Papillion Sanitation, equal opportunity employer.
The dream of playing the sport you love may be closer than you think. The Bellevue University Athletic Department proudly sports the best scholarship funding among NAIA programs in the state. To compete with the best, we need to recruit the best. All incoming freshmen earn a $5,000 scholarship when they enroll at Bellevue University. Learn more by looking us up at BUBruins.com and reach out to your future coach today.
It's history in the making as the Omaha Supernovas, your Major League Volleyball team, continue their inaugural season as they host the San Diego Mojo on Saturday, February 3rd at 6 p.m. World-class professional volleyball right here in Nebraska at the CHI Health Center. Secure your tickets and get to know your Supernovas by visiting supernovas.com. That's supernovas.com.
Hey, Jays fans, it's hoop season, and you know what that means. Jerry Ryan has the best selection in town for all things Creighton gear. Stop by Jerry Ryan at 78th and Dodge for your quarter zips in all shades of Jays blue, plus jackets, vests, winter coats, you name it. They have it. Multiple Jays options for men and women from Peter Millar, Cutter and Buck, and Johnny O. Stop by Jerry Ryan Clothing and dress like the coaches do.
At Jerry Ryan's, we bring out the best in you.
When you think Caddyshack, you think about an unforgettable dining experience. Stop in for Meatloaf Monday for just $10.95. Tuesdays are all about the happy with dollar drinks during all-day happy hour. Celebrate a Wing Wednesday with after hours. Thursday is spaghetti night for $10.95 a plate. Or grab some lunch on Fridays with the $12.95 hot beef sandwich. Caddyshack. 2 great locations off of 117th and Blondo and 180th and Harrison. The official watering hole of After Hours on 1620 The Zone.
It's cold, it's windy, you're stuck inside, but not for long. Spring will be here before you know it. And if you want to get off the couch and enjoy the outdoors when the mercury starts to rise, head over to ForsmansFinest.com today. Let the finest deck builders in the Omaha area come build you an outdoor experience you will love. A deck, a patio with a cover, there isn't much Forsman's can't do. Check out ForsmansFinest.com and have your dream outdoor experience in 2024.
Going Vertical Basketball Academy is the premier sports performance training facility in the Midwest. Working with athletes as young as kindergarten all the way to college and the pros, GVBA offers a variety of packages from individual workouts to group sessions. They also offer elite-level sports performance training for athletes of all sports. Check out the academy at 10700 Sapp Brothers Drive in Omaha or at goingverticalomaha.com. That's goingverticalomaha.com.
How powerful is Cox Fiber? Powerful enough to keep fans across the country in the action on the biggest game days of the year. Whether you're one of 65,000 fans at Allegiant Stadium or you're streaming the game at home with Cox Fiber from the company with America's fastest download speeds, whenever it matters most, Cox keeps you connected. Limited availability in select areas. Speeds vary and are not guaranteed. Cox terms and other restrictions may apply. Analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence Data. Fixed median download speeds. US Q3 2023.
Are you ready to elevate your taste buds? Look no further than Pepper Jacks, your go-to destination for bold flavors and endless choices. Dive into their mouth-watering rice bowls, crisp salads, hearty Phillies, savory burritos, and loaded nachos. What sets them apart? Complete customization. Choose your base, proteins, toppings, and sauces for a personalized culinary adventure. At Pepper Jacks, it's not just a meal, it's an experience. Unleash your cravings and savor the bold tastes at Pepper Jacks today. Life's too short for bland. Spice it up at Pepper Jacks.
Now back to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
All right, it is closing time, and we usually give you some picks here tonight, but we're always about fan interaction here. And John, you had somebody weigh in about the fumble out of the back of the end zone rule.
Yeah.
I want to get to that before we get to our bets. What do you got?
Yeah, it's on the as yet unsponsored John Schreiner text line.
Yeah.
From Travis. He
Kelsey?
says, no, not that Travis. We're not on texting terms.
Gotcha.
Anymore. They don't reward the O for fumbling forward when it goes out of bounds. Why reward the D for the same thing?
Because the defense caused the fumble.
Yeah, and I'll just say that the rules are different when you get to the end zone. That's my take on it. I just feel like when you get down around the end zone, the rules change. The rules for catching the football changes when you're in the end zone. It's a different part of the field. It's a different set of rules.
Yeah, I agree, and I don't think anybody should ever be rewarded for putting the ball on the dirt. Let's all just pick one game real quick to get everybody out of here a winner. Dan, you want to start us off?
Yes, tonight Houston is taking on Texas, and I have a feeling that Texas is going to keep this one a close game. That line is at 4.5 points right now. Give me Texas to cover that 4.5.
I just realized we didn't talk about the horns down thing at BYU. We'll be talking about that tomorrow. We didn't get to that. Have you guys seen this?
We haven't talked about horns down at all. It's been trending for like 2 weeks now.
Yeah, we need to get this.
We got to flame this Texas coach.
Whatever idiot writes this show needs to make sure to remember that. You know what, Dan? I'm on the same boat with you. I got Houston tonight. I think they win by more than.
Whoa, really? I was on Texas as well. They were in my 3. But the game I'm going with is, of course, where am I going? English Premier League tomorrow. Yeah. Everton taking on Fulham. Everton is an underdog here, plus 175. Fulham's not very good. Everton's better than you think because they had a 10-point deduction. Everton beats Fulham outright. Take them on the money line, plus 175.
You know you're 3-0 when picking soccer bets on this game, by the way, on the show.
Thank you very much. I'm very bad at picking basketball games, though.
That's John Schreiner. I'm Jimmy Allen, Dan Campbell. If you missed any of the show tonight, check out SoundCloud.com/AfterHours1620. It was brought to you by Pyramid Roofing. It's a little drafty in your house. Maybe your roof is leaking because that snow is finally starting to melt. Let the number one roofer in Omaha come take care of your windows, your gutters, your siding, your roof. They do it all. Get Pyramid Roofing and call tonight at 402-502-9300. Let Pyramid Roof Contractors come give you a free estimate at pyramidroof.com today. For Dan Campen and John Schreiner, I've been Jimmy Allen. Happy National Corn Chip Day, everybody.
Did that trash or recycling truck roll by your house without stopping again? Hi, I'm Megan with Papillion Sanitation. At